I just want to hear the truth, and I think that's all the coroner is looking for. That's all I'm looking for is the truth of what happened.
After Quebec's Director of Criminal and Penal Prosecution said it found insufficient evidence to lay charges against the Katasa Group for the 47 deaths at CHSLD Herron during the first wave of the pandemic, the owner of the since-closed Dorval facility on Montreal's West Island testified, speaking publicly for the first time about what happened behind the walls of Herron in March of 2020.
We've heard a lot of people say that they weren't in control. And these were all the people who were supposed to be leading, who were supposed to pull Herron out of the crisis. They were too busy pointing their fingers at other people to actually get anything done.
Samantha Chowieri of the Katasa Group, based in Gatineau, Quebec, who owned Herron at the time, testified through tears at times, describing the end of March 2020 as chaos at the residence. She usually visited the facility once a month and says she was on site after the first COVID case was declared at Herron March 27th. She says the situation quickly escalated and the staff that had been exposed called Quebec's health info line and were told to isolate at home. Chowieri testified that within 2 days, most of the staff weren't able to work, and she called in the local health authorities to inform them of the situation. Crying, Chowieri says she thought something bad was going to happen if help didn't arrive soon. March 29th, she was called by a nurse and told more staff had left overnight. Family members and a volunteer nurse City News spoke to who sounded the alarm about the crisis have said seniors were left to their own devices, many without food and water. Peter Whelan's 88-year-old mother, Connie, was one of them.
It's astounding that in this day and age, in a country as wealthy as we are, you have people who are sitting around in their own excrement for hours and sometimes days, and that was happening to my mother when the CS was there as well. She sat in her own dirty diaper in her wheelchair for 4 hours at one point.
The coroner overseeing the inquest, Jeanne Kamel, says she was discouraged hearing that employees up and left vulnerable people and were not bound to some sort of ethical code. Doctors who testified in recent weeks spoke of the severe staff shortages at the time, which contributed to the deaths. One doctor saying she was forced to call her husband and children to come help feed and change patients.
I'm either overwhelmed with appreciation for the people who went in there and did something for the residents and helped them survive, and anger for the people who didn't do anything or spent most of their time arguing about who was in control.
Chowieri, through tears once more, testifying that she doesn't think they could have done more and is sorry for families who have to hear this because she says it would be hard for her to accept this if she was in their shoes.
I would like to hear a few more people acknowledge that they failed, because a lot of people failed the residents of Herron and almost no one is admitting that they failed them. They're always pointing the finger at someone else.
In Montreal, Alyssia Rubertucci, City News.